So I'm Michaelk Fairman from On Air on Soaps, and today we have a very special video interview chat with probably my most favorite actress ever on daytime soap operas, and she knows that. I'm talking about Jeanne Cooper, who's with me today live in New York while I am out here in Los Angeles. And via the internet, we are able to bring you this very special video interview chat. And Jeanne, this is the big day, the release of your memoir, Not Young, Still Restless.
It's
Exciting.
exciting. I'm sorry you're not here. How
I
many
wish I could
times
hear
have
what
you
you.
said to me, you have to write a book? You have to write a book.
I
Well, I
said it.
wrote one. Now shut up.
I think I said that to you in your dressing room many times, and
Oh,
you'd be saying, "Can you believe this happened to me?" And I'm like, "Write the book, Jeanne."
I do. Believe me, I remember those times, Michael. I really do.
I know.
But I'm totally out of my element here. You understand? I've stepped out of the box. There's a book, and I'm saying, and that is me? That's me.
You have to be pinching yourself today, though. This has to be a great accomplishment. You've got a book out
Yeah.
on your life.
It's incredible. No, I never thought I would do it.
I know.
Because you really believed me when I said, what would I have to say? I have so much, I'm going to write a library full after this. I've remembered so many things, unreal. Do you know it's hard to choose? That's why I leave it to you guys all the time.
Right. I mean, I went through, like I said, this is a real page turner, Jeanne. I mean, it's like I read it in a day and a half, so I'm telling all the fans, you got to get it because it's like a novel, Jeanne. I mean, it's like I couldn't believe this all happened to one person.
Uh, you, I'll tell you, after I saw the completion, and of course HarperCollins is a fantastic group of people to be with, and I trusted them, and they did 100% what they were supposed to do, which that's the publishing business, which I know nothing about. You think we're a kooky business? You ought to be in the publishing business. They are the greatest kookies you ever met in your life, but they put it together that it was me talking. They transferred a couple of chapters. I think Amy was the one in charge of editing here at Harvard. And Lindsay Harrison, I think you know Lindsay.
I do know Lindsay through
Yeah, there
Hillary
you
B.
go.
Smith. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, unreal how she has absolutely captured me. And she's the one who finally said, Jeanne, write the damn book. And I said, I wouldn't know where to begin. She says, very simple. Jeanne, here is a tape recorder. Just turn it on and say anything. And so about 3 weeks later, I turned it on and I said, hello, my name is Wilma Jean. I was born in Taft, California. I didn't do another word for 2 weeks. And then I thought, of course I was born in Taft, California. What else happened to me in my lifetime? And then it started. And it's amazing. In fact, Corbin dropped by the house the other day, and I got the finished product, the cover, the hard copy. And it was on the coffee table, and he said, Mom, I read this. There's a lot about you I never knew. I said, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Absolutely. I read this, and I've known you for probably 30 some years,
Oh, yeah, plus.
at least. And the things that happened to you, I knew about the alcoholism and the historic facelift, and a little bit of what happened with your husband, but I didn't know about but there's a lot that happened with your
Boy, there's a lot you didn't know about it.
and the affairs. And I said, boy, Jeanne gets around. I mean, I wish I had you slept with some pretty hot men, Jeanne.
I guess so, yes. Yes, wonderful gents. They really were. And the ones I didn't tell you about, but then they weren't highlights in that department.
Did you finally sit down yourself and read the book from front to back? Did you have a
Yes.
moment when you did that?
Yes, I found it a very good read. I swear to God, it's the truth, Michael. I'm reading the book, and I get involved in it. About 3/4 of the way through, I said, that's me. That's me I'm talking. I'm reading. I read it like a novel. And I have to say that's all put together in the right manner, in the right way, so that I do feel you're reading a novel. It's something, and I'll tell you, the biggest compliment you could pay me ever, and several have done the same thing. is that they started reading the book and they couldn't put it down until they finished it.
Exactly, exactly.
Isn't that
What was
wild?
it's no, because I was like that.
Yeah.
I was like that. I had to stop though because I had to write something else, and then I had to go do the rest of the book. But what was the hardest thing for you in front of the tape recorder of the difficult stories in your life, the difficult things in your life? Was there one that was hardest for you to go through and relive in your mind to be able to tell Lindsay and to tell the tape recorder and to tell the story? What was the hardest one for you, part of your journey?
I think really the most difficult one of all was seeing all the red flags in a marriage, and I suppose giving up a lot of lovely men I could have married. I wouldn't have had Corbin, Colin, and Karen, but if I'd had 3 children by any other man, they would still be the most beautiful children in the world. Every mother thinks that. Well, not every mother, most. That was very difficult because it's the most painful part of my life, of which was nobody else's business but mine, and how could I be that honest with the children? I mean, they have every right to love their father, every right. But as I said to them, he is just a man to me. He's not my father, he is just a man. And I have been, I guess the wound was I talked to you, well, you knew I was having trouble with my marriage at one point, but not to the extent that
Not to that extent, no.
yeah, and that had covered a period of years. But that was basically when I started the drinking, and it'll do it, You're really screaming for help, and I have to be very honest about this. Knowing you, having you as a friend, and a few others as friends. You see, Michael, you're the first person that's making me cry. You dumb you.
I
How
tend to
dare you.
do that, though, so it's okay.
But you were support. You were a friend, and you covered up a well of things. You and a few others, and that was easier for me. And then, of course, when Bill Bell and Colin said, rehab, it was like, thank God somebody answered. But your friendship, you have no idea. And at that time, we didn't see that. Well, you were around all the time. But that helps cover the wounds, the hurts. And you and a few others very, very responsible for my feeling safe while I'm going through all of this and being who I am on the other side, too.
Well, that's what was amazing to me, going through what you were going through off camera and in your life and the many battles, and being able to go out there. I mean, when I talk about a real pro, Jeanne, you're the real pro, because you would go out there and deliver these amazing, gut-wrenching, just divine performances as Catherine Chancellor that has won the hearts of millions of fans worldwide.
I'm so grateful for that.
And I never knew how. I was like, how does she turn this on and off? Because what was going on backstage was so horrific,
Yes.
So I don't know how you did it, but how did you do it?
Yeah, well, when you have no choice, I guess it's surviving the incident, and of which I am a survivor. You are too. We've talked about what makes a person survive.
Absolutely.
And I had 3 children. They were getting older, but they still had to have a director in their life, and that was me. And I would have my lows and that sort of thing, but we survived it, and thanks to you and a few others with tremendous love and support of me as a person, I couldn't let myself down. You made me know that I loved myself enough that I had to do it for myself.
And that's a lot of things, when I was talking about the themes in this book, there are so many themes in your book, Jeannie, that are, universal.
Yes. Yeah, well,
I mean, people cheat on people. People cover up things. People are molested. People are alcohol. Things happen. And people.
It's not your fault.
Right.
So much is not your fault. And everybody, the blame game is what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. The other jerk-offs did. You know, I said I'm minding my own business in so many of those instances. What did I just say? I said a sort of dirty word, didn't I? Well, I say
Oh,
dirty words.
okay, we're used to that. It's okay. So are all the got people on the show.
Yeah, right, you got it. Uh, it's, I don't know. I shared a big hunk of my life with you, haven't I? Just in the business for it. But my problems are no different than anybody else's. And I put a lot of that into performance in many ways to say it's all right. It's all right to fail. It's all right to sometimes think you're the victim. It's all right for your highs and your lows. But the most important thing is to come out of it with a greater love for yourself because you didn't play the victim. It was a happening in your life and it was solved, and everybody's life is just about a split second in the journey that we're all here, you know, serving sentence, as it were, in many ways. It was coming out of every one of those instances, liking myself a lot better and getting stronger and stronger and stronger all the time and believing in what I believe in and being honest about it. It's other than that point, and I wasn't lying about my life at all. I just wasn't saying anything about it. That's all.
Right. So in 2008, you win the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, and which was the best. Okay, that really was. That was the best. And I spoke with Crystal Chappelle over the weekend, and
God.
I told her what you said in our interview about the lovely things you said about her, and she said, "Well, right back at Jeanne. She is a tremendous, tremendous talent and friend, and you know her admiration for you runs so deep, and she remembers being there that night you won and cheering and clapping and you know for you. So I just wanted to pass that on. I told her we were talking today, and she said to give you her love."
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, she's special talent, that lady. Special. There's a lot of great talent. You know, someone was talking about something and said, "Do you know Linda Dono?" And I said, "Oh, I love Linda Dono." It's amazing what everything is coming up now. There's so many hundreds of people out of work, thanks to whoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have imagined you've asked a lot of people about that. But it was hearing these names pop that I've been so closely associated with through the genre of daytime. I've never met so many magnificent people if it hadn't been for the people across the United States and Canada and in Europe watching a daytime, you can call it a habit if you want, and that's okay too, because a lot of people like to escape for an hour a day. And through this genre, which I had no idea, I mean, in one day, we are viewed by more people than some of the most successful motion pictures. It takes a year for that amount of people to see it in a movie house, to see that picture. We do it in one day. Somehow, it is, and I've said this, and it's my true belief, it isn't the fact that the genre is just going off the air. The genre has been killed. You know, it's a murderous situation as far as I'm concerned, because it's taken away an emotion. You are entitled to feel something. And if that daytime show is doing it for you, no matter which one it is, you're forming a relationship, another family. You're feeling relaxed. If we're portraying what you may be going through in your life, and it's some solace, what have you. It's an emotion. We're sort of a healing power. We get people involved in us, and it takes away from their daily, sometimes monotony, depression, name it, whatever it is. We've done a tremendous amount of good work in healing and alcoholism, cancer, heart attacks. Those are done in sort of an overly fashion, but we've made our marks. I cannot tell you what just having the facelift. Forget people getting cosmetic surgery, people who responded, who were afraid to have anything done, and they had corrective jaws, muscles restored, to whatever impact it was that gave them the courage to do it. If Catherine Chancellor did it, which means I was behind it, if Catherine Chancellor could do it, for whatever reason, I thank God that the impact was enough. People came in and got certain things done that would have hindered them all their lives and kept them from doing certain things or thinking certain things for the rest of their lives. I'm so grateful that Jeanne Cooper decided to have her face lifted. Her gravity was screaming, and I wasn't going to fall to my knees with it. So I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of the alcohol, although I sobered up Catherine Chancellor, and then she turned around and caused me to drink. Then she sobered me up, as it were, in many ways. I can't tell you how many chips people have come up to grab my hand and say thank you so much. People who, in and out and back and forth from rehab to not even giving up, becoming clean and sober. For whatever reason, I don't care. I don't care. But if they say, thank you, you helped me out of it, I'll be like Corbin. He said, a compliment paid him the other day, and he said, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take that, and I take it. I take it with tears in my eyes. Darn you.
I know. It's okay,
But
this
you
is
see-
so. This is what's the truth. This is what who you are. This is what makes you so special. You're gonna make me cry now, Jeanne.
See, I know, but if somebody betters their life because of something I've done, my God, I can't. I don't want to take credit for it, but then when they say to me, because of you I did this and or I whatever, and it turned out good and it restored, what more could you ask for in life than to be part of that?
Absolutely.
Is that what my mission is? Is that my journey here? We're just a speck on this planet. You hardly think anything you do that you notice. I'm just grateful to whatever higher power caused it and chose me to do it for what I do, and how many people's lives have been affected by it.
I think so many people have been affected by you in so many different ways, I mean, and I think that's such the legacy of a lifetime, to have an impact in this lifetime for people. And that's something you always said in your book, that you wanted to entertain people. It was really important for you to make the magic and to do that. And you did that. You've done it for decades. My God, 39 years in Young the Restless, soon to be 40. You can't, I mean, those are amazing milestones and amazing accomplishments in a lifetime. I wanted to touch upon something that you were talking about regarding the soaps. We've just had a major shakeup at Young and the Restless with Maria Bell leaving.
And I'm out of town, thank God.
And you're out of town. You missed the bombshell.
Oh, boy.
Jill Farron Phelps is now the executive producer, and Josh Griffith is the head writer.
Josh,
How do you feel about what just happened? So many people have asked me, how does Jeanne feel?
I know, it's totally amazing. I got a call from Maria. I got a call from Steve Kent, which is a tremendous compliment in both ways, to want to know how I felt and explain their side of the story. I'm just an actress,
So we were talking about Maria Bell being let go of her position at Y&R as head writer and executive producer of the show, and in came Jill Farron Phelps and Josh Griffith as your new executive producer and head writer. And I was wondering what you thought about the change, and you were basically starting to tell me that you got a phone call from Steve Kent and Maria. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I got the phone calls, and as I said before, I was honored the fact that both people would call it. As Steve Kent, a lot of people don't know, he's our senior executive producer. I have to say, in Maria Bell's defense, she was serving two hats. One was the MoCA, the Museum of Creative Arts, and the Young and the Restless. And I had a great sense of where the show was, having, Bill Bell as a father-in-law and learning, writing under his umbrella. But the thing of it is, with the art world, it was going down, and she, as chairwoman of the committee there, was very beneficial in turning that around and having the museum at least existing for the moment. And as we know, arts through the time has been found on walls and in the ground, what have you, to let us know what happened in that period of time and so on and so forth. Very much so, and they're very, very involved in arts for children still in schools and that sort of thing. Now that's a very important position. Now put that on top of writing a #1 show, and what she was trying to do, which kept her from the show a great deal of time, thinking she had the right people at her back at every turn, knew and laid out storylines, assuming that her writing team is taking care of that, and trying to make it blend so that she could also maybe teach this preservative of fine things through a show that was open to that sort of thing if the storylines had been correctly done. And so consequently, and we talked about this, it's very difficult to serve two major things without paying more attention to one than due to the other. I think Les Moonves is the greatest example of having the right people around him. He can't deal with every mundane thing that comes along, but he's still in charge of everything. Is very important, but the team he has around him are dynamite people. God forbid one should cross him, I'd never be in show business again. But Maria was trying to blend the two, and consequently the Young and the Restless suffered for it, because sometimes you would receive a script of where the character is doing and saying things that the character would never ever do and say, even if you were changing that character to later on say those things or do those things. It got to be ideas. They would shoot an idea rather than someone's story, someone's life. When you're dealing in daytime, you take a character, and in my case, at 83, I've been on it ever since I was 45. Where else in God's green earth can especially a female, have a major part in something such as acting from to whenever? And that affords a great thing, but you've got to make Catherine have something to do that is Catherine. You just can't have her say, hello, you shouldn't do that. You know, Victor, shame on you. Don't ever do that again, Nitty. That's not, Catherine would say that, but that's only part of what she would say. You know that. And Maria thought everything was being taken care of. Now, I say that in her defense. Yes, she was gone a great deal of the time, but she was gone for Mocha. She wasn't just out saying, I'm having a good time here. She tried to make it like this is the world today and this is the way it's going to be, and it just failed at one point. That's in her defense, because she really thought it would work. It just was never implemented so that people would accept it. You cannot take away characters that people have grown up with and say you can't have your aunt or your uncle or your lover or your grandma, your grandpa. You can't have them anymore. I'm discarding them. I'm throwing them out of your life. You cannot rob a person of their emotion, especially when they've supported you over a period of years. And the fans, I say fans, I don't know why I use that, because I always like to think that, and I've never played down to them in any other way than to say that I'm showing you how you feel. I'm expressing for you what you can't express. I think had she really listened to the audience that was already there, that we've established over the years, had she not been influenced by, and just to take away nothing, I don't know who they are. Well, I do a couple. I lie there. Yeah, I do. I do, you do, and a lot of people do.
We know. Okay.
We know. And to lie about would be silly, because, and the viewers, they view it because they like it. They're not forced to do something. Now they're forced to say, You can't have daytime. You know, please. What? The higher ups and in, the ABC, if they're clearing their schedule of all daytime things, what is not to lead us to believe they may be implementing people into our show to make sure we go down the tube. And so that's what it's a fear that the audience has, that they're trying to get rid of us.
Right. It's so bad right now in the whole for
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah, I mean, and because they feel so,
cheated.
they're so betrayed. They feel by
Yes,
what happened with
betrayed.
ABC
Good
daytime.
word.
They've invested all of their years and time
Yes,
with these characters, and so now anytime there's a change anywhere, it's like, well, they're only doing this because in 6 months they're going to kill the show.
that's right.
So right. So I understand that. How do you know Jill Farron Phelps? I know you know Josh Griffith because he's written for the show
Yes,
before.
And Josh is a lovely and very talented man. Very talented man. Jill, I don't know well. I have yet to meet her. I don't know if she'll like me, and I don't know if I should like. I have nothing against her,
Right.
except if she doesn't do a great job, then she goes the way of everybody else. I'd hate to see. We've become birth of a nation. We literally have. And sometimes you go to work and you're looking at a strange face, and you say, "Who are you?" And they're the new so and so. And I said, "My God, you're only 7 years old. 2 weeks ago, now you're 25." You know, this whole switching immediately on the audience. When you bring anybody new into the family, I don't care. It's say, "All right, here you are. Your family adores you, loves you, what have you," and all of a sudden, you marry a girl and bring it into the family, your family. Your family can accept you because she's marrying you and you are somebody's son. But it takes a long time for that individual bond. They have to nurture that woman you married. They have to nurture. She has to be nurtured until all of a sudden she's a very integral part of the show or the family. It doesn't happen in a day in real life or any other life. Everybody's so much in love that, you know. And here's the other thing that we're doing now. I mean, you say, "Hi, my name is Edith. My name is John. Let's go to bed." Sometimes they don't have to say it. They just go to bed and then introduce themselves. And porn stars have said, "Hey, leave that stuff to us. We do it better than you do. Just let us have our stories back again."
What would you like to have? Okay, so let's say you have a chance to talk to Jill, and you go, "Listen, I'm Jeanne Cooper. I play Catherine Chancellor. I'm the Grand Dame of Genoa City." Would you say, what would you like to tell her that you'd like to do in story? What would you like to tell them? What do you want to do next in story for Catherine? What would be good and fun and interesting
Good, fun, and interesting.
to tell them?
Oh my
Like,
God! Well, the point is, I'd like them to go back. It isn't just for me, because if it happens, it would include me and every other person. Everybody's so excited when some of the core people come back. None of them are old and decrepit. You've got you've got Beth Maitland. You've got the Abbott family. John is even a ghost. The point is root family with all kind of dysfunctional children, which is a normal family.
absolutely.
Bring it back to the family, eliminate the birth of a nation. And of course, there's so many that you'd have to kill off. I would say what one should do is that Genoa City adopts a sister city, and the sister city is going to have a tremendous charity drive. And the sister city of Genoa City climbs aboard a plane to fly to their sister city, and it crashes. That way you don't have to explain how anybody died, why they
They're all
died.
just gone. Yeah.
One big funeral, and homage is paid. And let's go back to family, dysfunctional or functional, but let's concentrate. Let's not do Birth of a Nation, because it's so vast that even I'm not too terribly interested.
I love it.
I hope for all the success in the world, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, it can't be all about cell phones and
Cell phones and what?
Cell phones and sex. Pardon me just a moment. I'm finishing up on Sharon here. I'll be with you in just a minute.
Well, Jeanne, I have a bunch of questions
Oh, I
from
bet you
fans
do.
of yours around the globe that have. I told them we were doing this chat today, and to submit your questions, and I would pick some of the best ones to ask you.
All right.
And so I have some to throw at you, and I'd love to hear your response. This is from Richard in Milwaukee, and Richard asked. He loved it when Catherine referred to the glass of liquor she had next to her as, quote, old friend. Is that something that Jeanne added to the dialogue after her own battles with alcoholism?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, I think I,
Because I know you say old friend a lot of times when you look at the bottle,
yeah, I
right?
think, yeah, I think that was my vernacular that was put. I think I was responsible for that. If not, it was a very good writer.
It was Bill Bell.
No, he had passed on. Bless his heart. Uh,
um, this is from Mark in Staten Island, New York. When I hear phrases such as "Dear God in Heaven" or "The Duchess," I know Catherine Chancellor is on my television screen. Are all of these distinctive phrases ad-libbed?
John Convoy, like that. No, Bill Bell gave that a special name for Brock to call his mother as Duchess.
Right.
And he still does every once in a while when he comes in for, appearances, we'll say Duchess. And of course, there's a word that everybody likes that some like Mrs. Chancellor, some like
Mrs.
Catherine.
C.
And
Mrs. C. Yeah.
Mrs. C. Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forget who it was. Called me Mrs. C. I
It
should-
wasn't. It wasn't Esther. No, she
No,
calls.
no, she's the one who gave me the name Mrs. C because she wanted to be different. I'm so used to it, and it's the one special thing she brought to it. And somebody said Mrs. C about something, and I said, please don't call me that. And they just, the actor looked at me, and this was during a take. We were shooting this. I said, please don't call me that. I'm Mrs. Chancellor. Yeah, this actor, the actor was. The actor looked at me like, is that a cue line that I forgot maybe? And I just looked at him, and it was when he said, all right then, Mrs. Chancellor, blah, 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 blah. So that was reason she brought that. That's her own special name.
Well, the Duchess. When Beau would say
I
it,
love
and
that one. I love that name.
I love that, and I know. And since you talked about your affair with Beau
Yeah.
in the book, when he still says it, does your heart melt?
Well, it has a special meaning, sure. Of course it does.
Right. Right. Rayanne from Niagara Falls, Canada, asks, is there a storyline that you wish you could erase from YNR history and that you regret the most?
I don't
I was-
regret anything Catherine has ever said or done or played other than stand in the corner and say nothing. That
Being drunk.
really gets to me. Catherine does not stand in any corner and say nothing. She is either in a corner for a purpose or she's not there at all.
Chantal from Montreal, Canada, asks, who does Jeanne feel is the love of Catherine's life?
Ooh, wow.
That's a good one.
I think the storyline, the love of her life. I started to say the love of my life. I know his
Catherine.
name. See, there you get us mixed up.
Yeah.
That's where one takes on the other. I guess Quinn Rediker.
Oh, really?
Who
Rex?
played Rex. The storyline was funky and funny the way it got there. The audience adored it, loved it. And the joke was on Jill at last, who thinks her Visa card would get him married to me, and then, or not married, and at the last minute say, haha, it's a ruse of some kind. But Quinn has such a magnificent way. First of all, he knows women, so consequently, and great dialogue was being written, just great moments for the two of them, that so many men and women could identify with her. There was such an identification because it's that thing of where you, when you're in love to be in love, to love someone is the easiest thing in the world because it's your basic nature to love. But to fall in love means you can hold hands and not say a word and have a tremendous conversation. And it doesn't take away from one or the other, and you're two separate human beings, although you're married, kind of thing. Quinn was that. I mean, Catherine could look at him and she said, I will never agree to that. And he said, what? What did I say? What did I say? Catherine, yes, I just said, I ride a motorcycle. And let's go out to dinner. All right, but I mean, it's ridiculous nonsense about a motorcycle, for heaven's sake. And of course, he drives up in front of my mansion on a motorcycle with an extra helmet. And he said, climb on. And Esther is saying, oh, do it, Mrs. C, do it, Mrs. C. So I get on the back of a motorcycle, and Catherine is saying, my life is over. I'm beginning to stoop this low to go to dinner on a motorcycle. She didn't find it exciting, but she found it courageous, the fact that she would get on a motorcycle.
You like being on the motorcycle, Jeanne. I know it. Okay. So this is from Philip. Philip asks, could you ask Jeanne which of the actresses was her favorite Mac who played her granddaughter? She is he's saying, I know she's a very classy lady, but he'd love to know. Do you think somebody played Mackenzie more embodied the character?
Taking away nothing from the ones who have played, again, giving them their due, very, very individual ladies. I think Ashley Basham nailed the part. She was tough but soft, individual but condescending. I think Ashley Basham nailed the part. It took the audience a long time to love her, but if she was nurtured within the show, within Catherine's ability, and she became a staple for the audience. And then it became a joke when they just kept, massive tryouts for the part of my daughter, playing him 6 months at a time. And the last one was very good, but again, we had no scenes together. I mean, they introduce it, and then it's all of a sudden everybody disappears and goes somewhere else, and gets in another set of troubles, and so on and so forth. But Ashley Basham nailed the part. She nailed it. It belonged to her.
Larry from Philadelphia asks, how eerie was it a few years ago when Y&R killed your character, and then you had to watch your own funeral service?
What fun. What fun. Such fun. And people have done this strangely enough. Do you know how many people will disappear and say they're dead? They've been announced that they're dead, not missing. And they have a memorial for them and what have you, and they go to their own to see how people react, who really loved them and who didn't love them. It's a spooky feeling, especially when you have to get in the coffin and pretend you're the other person, that you're really not Catherine. But that's the spooky thing. That's when you wanted triplets and have the stunt woman be the third party, get in the coffin as you view it. But it was interesting, and it's very, very true, standing there and realizing, a lot of people who you thought were your dearest and kindest people that loved you look and finally say, thank God you finally died. That's life. You can't hate anybody for it. That's life. There are people like that.
Marty from New Jersey asks, I want to know whose idea was it to have Jeanne's facelift televised? Was that your idea?
I never thought of Bill Bell, Sr., at the time said, I don't, I'm a little bit frightened to ask you this, but do you just suppose, Jeanne, that you're doing this if we were if we could use it as a storyline. And I said, well, yes, Bill, go ahead, because if I come back looking a little bit freshened, Catherine's going to look a little bit freshened at the same time. And so that was his idea, but he agreed to do it in a documentary fashion, of which he and Elizabeth Harrow did work together on that.
And what amazing that was. That was the first. We talked about this. It was really the first reality breaking of
Nancy, president of CBS before Nina came in, Nina, reminded me of that as we had some picture taken, whatever. And she said, "You do know, Jeanne, you did the first reality show." I said, "You're right, I did, didn't I?" Yeah. And you know
really?
who she was at the time I was doing that? She was the legal secretary for all
right.
of CBS and the hospital and every doctors and everything. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've got a question from Jeffrey. He says, what are your thoughts on ageism today in daytime specifically and in Hollywood in general? His concern is that in the past, when there's been a shift in regimes like you're going through now at Y&R, that a character who was a veteran character, an elderly character, got shoved off the canvas, like Anna Lee on General Hospital he was alluding to. She wasn't given much airtime after a regime change. So do you think ageism is an issue on soaps and in Hollywood in general?
Well, I think ageism, in the case of Anna Lee, I don't know what the circumstances were there. Bill Bell certainly never thought anything of that. In fact, he didn't want to lose the character. I'm sure he would have said, if you die, can we bury you as a storyline?
Right.
But I think I was also a great one to add to that, of that, as long as you have a purpose and you fit within the story, you do not change your stories or your stories, other bylines coming into it because somebody gets older. If they can't perform, if they physically cannot perform, one can understand that. But as long as you can walk and talk and be somebody besides, that someone they have to take care of and that sort of thing, although Bill would have continued that, and the Bells have, at this point, it certainly is never... let's put it like this. If I had that problem, I would blab. You think I wrote a book now? I'd really write a book.
Right. So you'd go to him and say, I'd really write the book. You better keep me on.
Yeah.
Because,
If you don't want to move into the Midwest, you've been East Coast, now West Coast, you move the Midwest. Yeah, Catherine, absolutely. I would fight for her because I'll tell you why. There are a lot of people out there who are no longer even 70. What are we supposed to do? Say, go out in the barn.
Well, that you don't they don't matter, and they're not seeing any part of their lives portrayed on television.
You want a great laugh? Who is this? Who asked this? From New Jersey, right?
Yes.
I'm doing a book signing in New Jersey, but to answer this person, I had a letter which I don't mean to put the man down at all. I looked at myself and I looked at the situation. I got a fan letter that came to the house. I rarely will ever answer those because I don't know who they are or what they do. But this was so dear. It said, I've watched your career as I have watched your career. You are just a blah, 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 blah. Just absolute stunning compliments. Said, and it would please me so much if I could have a signed autograph picture of you.
What?
As I'm a 94-year-old retiree, I would like to have your picture as my pinup girl to hang on my wall in the retirement home.
I love it.
I love it. I thought, what a gutsy, how marvelous. See, that sort of thing. Some people would be insulted. I think it is so divine and so funny. It's hysterical, if nothing else. You do keep older people around just for laughs once in a while, But
So you're going to be a pinup girl now, which is good.
In a retirement home.
In a retirement home, no less. See, look what's happening because of the book.
Oh, God.
Barbara from Atlanta says, I'm a longtime viewer, and I was really surprised with the storyline revealing that Kay and Jill were related. The subsequent scenes when the two worked to establish a mother daughter relationship seemed inane to me given their history. Even though writers have undone their biological connection, the characters do not seem to have recovered. Jill and Kay were always at their best when they were scheming against each other, a situation that logically grew from their early years on the show. The interaction between the characters since the mother-daughter storyline is odd, and the writers don't seem to really know what to do with them. I have not understood the dynamics over the past few years. Can you tell me what are your thoughts on how the story has changed, and what is your impression of the current relationship between Jill and Kay?
It sucks.
Ditto.
Yeah, the fun and the drama of the two. I mean, she and I became, listen, one year we were chosen a super couple because it was a love-hate situation, you know, that every mother and daughter sort of go through period in their lives. It was one of those things that it was like cartoons, you know. And I tried to say to Jill one day, I said, because she said, I'm such an ass. I have to be the most stupid person in the world. I said, come Thursday in your paycheck, yes, it pays well to be stupid and crazy. I said, stay stupid and crazy. That's our relationship. It's like the cartoon, who is it, Roadrunner. He's pitting all of the ways to kill his opposition and planting dynamite sticks and that. And the proper time comes, and it reverses itself and blows up Daffy Duck. And I said, Jill shoots herself in the foot every time she turns around. That, I said, people, when they get identified with a certain way of doing things and the audience loves it and they yearn for it, that is a successful forming of a relationship or a character that you've chosen. And she just said the other day, because she's taking a leave of absence, 6 months or so from the show, to find out. She said, I just want to find out who I am. And I said, I guarantee you won't like it when you do.
You got Jeff Walton, right? Jeff
Right.
Walton.
Jess
Right.
Walton. So anyway, it was a grand relationship. It was beautifully formed. Then they chose to ruin the whole thing by making her mother and daughter. But then at that, they could have still written into the differences of opinions that they still could not agree on anything. I mean, the ridiculousness of a line drawn down the middle of the mansion. Half hers, half mine, you know, please. You know, we never ever fought over that again. You know.
There is Dan from Washington State on the same line of you and Jill. Said, how much fun was it doing the cake fight with Jess Walton a few years ago? That was awesome television. Really, all the fights she's been in with Jess are so memorable. Was it difficult doing all of that rolling around?
No, not really. It was just a matter of we decided we could do better than the stunt women.
Yes.
And we did. It was and the stunt ladies were very happy about it. We would think of things to do. We would suggest things to do, for things to come, make it easier for us to concoct something legitimately, rather than it's time for Jess and Jill and Catherine to have an argument or a fight or whatever. Because they were beginning to put them in just as let's have Jill and Catherine fight now.
Right,
Done.
for no
That's
reason.
done.
Right, yeah.
You know, their arguments and their things just come out of situations. She'll say something dumb as Esther would say, and Catherine has to look at them both like, how do people like you exist on the same earth as I exist? You know, and it comes out of the natural structure of the scene, not let's have them argue, let's have them fight, or what have you.
But you didn't mind getting cake all over you, was the question.
Cake scene? Oh, please, I loved it. I got to smack Melody with a smidge of it. And she loved it. She was almost jealous that in rehearsal we weren't going, and it goes on you and you. So whenever I swiped it, it really went across. And she had a big glob sticking up the side of her
So
head that
fun.
you didn't see. And she loved it because it came as a natural thing. Oh,
Well,
dear.
Jean, this has been such a treat for me to celebrate with you the release of your memoir, and to, I always love the fact that I've been somehow put in your orbit in life to celebrate all the great milestones in your life. From the legacy as Catherine, your Emmy win, your Lifetime Achievement Award, which you have to read about in the book,
Yeah, yeah.
and all your journeys, and to go on this with you today is really, really special to me, and I'm so glad I got to do this with you. And I think everybody should go to the bookstore starting today to get Not Young, Still Restless, Jeanne
Oh,
Cooper's memoir. It's just really, really wonderful. And the fans love you. Everybody's written me so much to tell you their love and their thanks and their appreciation of your years of work on Y&R. So much love to you, Jeanne. Much love
thank
to
you.
you. And
Thank you,
future
Michael.
success.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing. What a treat for me to have you do this.
Me too.
And to all of them out there, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being loyal. And I hope I've pleased you. And when you read the book, I hope you know more about me than you knew before. Some of the things I just hope you like me more, because I will like you more if you buy the book.
Thanks, Jeanne. Have fun in the Big Apple.
God bless, and I am. They're super here. Tremendous people. Love them to pieces.
Well, they better be good to you. All right.
All right, darling. Take care. Love you.
Bye.